Deathloop has launched. Those of you who have PC or PS5 can enjoy the game right now. From the studio that brought us Dishonored and its sequel, and Prey, Deathloop explodes out on the scene with a new concept and a new direction, espousing unique mechanics, weapons, and abilities to turn loose on the unsuspecting people of Blackreef. You play as Colt, a man trapped on an island going through a time loop, with Colt being one of the only ones to keep his memories. Desperate to get free, he has to fight, die, and do it again, over and over. All the while, a psycho chick is trying to murder Colt to protect the loop. So, what's the verdict? How does it stack up? Well, that answer entirely depends on what platform you're playing on right now. PS5 has been stable and performing well, while PC is riddled with issues, from stuttering to glitches to hard crashes, and we will go into detail with this more later. But for a quick answer, if you're a PC player, I highly recommend waiting until we get some patches and fixes to keep the bugs at bay. It should be noted that there was recently a patch released for the beta branch on the 17th of September. However, for myself, it did not help with the bugs. It may have for some people. It's a little too early to say what it actually did. The game length is average for an Arcane Studio game, coming in at around 10 to 15 hours depending on skill level and how eager you are to hunt for secrets. This roguelite type of game is new for the team, but it's clear they did it well, while staying away from some of the tropes. It's probably better described as a roguelite light. Before we go much further, I want to thank everybody for liking, commenting, and subscribing to help us grow. Don't forget to hit the notification bell as well to get notified of all the reviews and gaming news that we produce. So, how's it play? The gameplay is similar in style to other Arcane games, but with a lot more shooting this time than normal. The good news is they did this well. While there is part of me that wished there were more weapon variety in the beginning of the game, the guns feel good to use, like they have a real punch to them. The powers are executed pretty well, and they also feel quite good to use. The way you acquire them is a good mechanic and allows you to explore many different avenues to complete your tasks. The things that make each run unique are the trinkets you find along the way, some allowing you to double jump, some allowing you to have faster executions, others that make you generally harder to damage. I think it should be noted that as far as playstyle, the stealth is a less rewarding and predictable way to play. There aren't any ranged stealth options that are worth taking. You only get one gun in the beginning of the game that's supposed to be silent, but whether intentional or not, shooting it seems to alert anybody within 250 square miles, whereas a silent melee kill in the same spot does not. So that's mostly how I played. Stealthy, blinking up to somebody, killing them, blinking away. It is totally possible to play an upfront, loud and proud runner and gunner as well, and I did have brief experiments with that. Let's go to the good. Number one spot's gonna go to the Antagonist. Juliana makes a great antagonist, and it's fun to hear her and Cole argue over the radio. I actually found myself looking forward to their dialogue every time I entered a new level. Speaking of dialogue, they really knocked it out of the park here. Colt, Juliana, the Visionaries all have amazing voice acting and well-written lines, and the interconnecting stories that they all had were great to piece together, especially over eavesdropping conversations. My only regret is that Colt doesn't get to interact with the other Visionaries much besides killing them, which does seem like a wasted opportunity. I mean, it just cuts the tension right away. The gameplay was very solid. The mechanics work well together, and when you start rushing from rooftop to rooftop and breaking into places you fully discovered to take out everyone inside flawlessly, it feels amazing. This is something Arcane has always been able to do well. Hell, I still find myself looking at the speedrunners play Dishonored because it's so damn satisfying, and they nail that aspect here. The sound design was great. The music, both in and out of battle, sounded awesome. As soon as open combat erupted, I found myself getting in the zone to take out everyone around without even thinking about it because the tracks were just that good. Now this one I'm not really sure if this should get put into the good or bad section, to be honest. I'm leaving it here because I really do think I liked it more than I disliked it. But it's going to be about the opening hours of the game. The game starts off almost immediately into gameplay. It's like a 5-second cutscene and then you're controlling Colt. This means there isn't a lot of context for starting off. Colt begins in his first loop and you're with him while he figures out how to navigate it. This feels kind of awkward at first and sort of jarring considering all the hand-holding we get as far as story in modern gaming. But after the first 10 minutes, I really started to appreciate the lack of knowledge and ability to discover what was going on in Blackreef. Moving on to the bad section. Number one here is going to be the story. The story can fall flat in certain aspects. I think mostly due to the fact that Colt doesn't do much interacting, like I said before, for besides killing people, save for one conversation he can have. If he had some banter with visionaries like Wenji or Alexis, I think it actually would have greatly improved the experience and could have set up more motivation for taking them out and breaking the loop. There is this twist in the story that I won't spoil, but just falls flat. It's completely predictable, but that isn't the reason it falls flat. It's because in the end, it means nothing, and it really doesn't change anything. Gamers have been experiencing great stories with awesome twists for years, so it's impossible for every twist to be a surprise. But every storyteller, and I mean every storyteller, needs to follow the rule of Chekhov's gun. These things need to have real impact, or they shouldn't be there. The ending unfortunately falls flat as well. There are 3 endings, and even the most satisfying possibility isn't really that satisfying. It leaves it very open-ended. Granted, this game isn't nearly as choices matter as Dishonored, so I'm not expecting as quality endings. But it's like Arcane forgot what gamers liked about their endings. They were well explained, and we could follow what was going on. It wasn't just blank screen roll credits like it is here. Talking about the linear aspect of the game, when you first begin exploring the loop, you get the impression that you'll be piecing together a plan, a unique plan that would allow you to kill all 7 visionaries in one loop. This is soon proven false, however. The game is much more linear than it appears. Yes, you choose what order to complete objectives, but their objectives are the same, and a marker always leads the way. Talking about the different locations of the game. At first, it would appear that the 4 locations at the 4 different times of day may result in 12 locations all around. However, it's soon shown that these locations aren't really that different by time of day. The biggest difference is it snows sometimes, and maybe a car crash at a certain time of day. Heck, one location's even permanently blocked off at a certain time of day, so there really isn't a way to get there. It really is a bit disappointing considering the massive levels that we had in the other Arcane games. We're just going to talk about the pausing real quick. It's a pretty small gripe, but one that truly annoyed me every time I attempted to pause the game. Sometimes we need to answer a text or pick up our phone for a call or just get some food or a drink, so the game pauses. Well, not really, because everything is still in motion. I could still get killed and my run could end, but I just wanted to get some frickin' spaghetti. And there isn't any manual save, so I can't just save and quit either. I have to start that section of the day over if I want any peace about it. Time to talk about the elephant in the room. The performance. On PC, the game just constantly stutters when using the mouse and keyboard. I got around this by forcing myself to use the controller, but even that didn't fix it all the way, and I certainly didn't prefer to use it. Many had issues, like myself, with this stuttering, with lag, and crashes, even on extremely high-end rigs. Apparently, this is either being explained 2 ways. 1, the de novo anti-piracy is the problem. This will certainly be verified whenever piracy scene groups finally crack the game. We did see something similar with certain Assassin's Creed games, and anti-piracy software has been known to do strange things, like blow it up to crazy sizes and have performance issue. It also simply could be the buggy engine. Many who played Dishonored 2 from launch reported similar issues with Deathloop, and it's using the exact same engine. Either way, these issues are avoidable. I understand that companies use anti-piracy software to ensure a good launch, but Deathloop has already had a poor launch on PC. As soon as people see the mixed reviews on Steam, they chalk it up to another broken mess, when Deathloop is actually a quality game with a lot to offer. If it's the engine, they should have tested and fixed this issue. There are too many experiencing this to have missed it, in my opinion. Another elephant, but not the one that people are harping on enough in my opinion, is the multiplayer. The way the multiplayer works is very Souls-like. The player gets invaded by Juliana, who is being played by another player. Now the issue is that Juliana has significantly less abilities than Colt, and Colt actually has certain trinkets that simply let him remain invisible indefinitely if he doesn't move. That means the Colt can wait out Juliana until they find each other and he can get the drop on her. The Colt also has 3 lives, while Juliana only has 1, making it near impossible as Juliana to win a match against a Colt. And that's just a few examples of the broken aspects of it. To be fair, I think there's things they can implement to make this better, like letting the Juliana use the items and equipment they gained over in the main story content. There's also this issue of poor matchmaking. It's taken me up to 30 minutes to match with another player. This is not uncommon. A lot of people complained about this, and it's an unacceptable state to release the multiplayer in. There's also only 1 mode, so if you aren't into that gameplay mechanic of invasion, then you're SOL, because there's no other PvP to speak of at all. In conclusion, Listen, we've all seen the 10 out of 10s that gaming journalism outfits have been showering Deathloop with. I just think it needs to be said that those are absolutely bought and paid for. Even without the performance issue, there's no way anyone could call this a perfect game, honestly. After playing it through, I don't plan on ever picking it up again, and I would play Dishonored way before I ever considered playing Deathloop again. And I don't think that many people would label Dishonored a 10. Deathloop has a lot to love. It has a lot that's frustrating. If you have a PS5, pick it up on sale. If you have a PC, absolutely wait for patches and a decent sale. All in all, I'd say it has a rating of 3 of the best looking burgers that gaming has to offer.